let's talk about Skullcandy. So, Skullcandy, about a month and a half ago, decided to send me some stuff, and it got here roughly 5 or so days ago. And the main thing that they sent me were these, and these are the Skullcandy Crusher ANCs. And these retail for about $320. I'm just going to get right into it and tell you what I like and what I don't like about these things. So, let's get the negatives out of the way. The biggest negatives that I can give for these things is mainly the fit. These, I'm sure if you've seen Dank Pods' video on these things, this is the problem right here. If you see, this is fine. Doing this is totally fine, but whenever you do this, there's not enough movement here to make this feel good, and it can cause some pinching, not really pinching, but it's just uncomfortable and it doesn't sit right on your ears. Other than that, I don't really have too many problems with comfort. The XM3s are definitely way more comfortable than these. These are heavier, but there's a reason why these are heavier, and I'll get into that. But yeah, these are pretty good. They're pretty comfortable. They still get a little bit hot like the XM3s, but I mean, it's the summer. Like, what am I going to do about that? The only other real negatives that I can see is the initial sound signature of these, which can and is easily fixed, by the way. But we'll get into that. So, let's talk positives. Now, the biggest positive that I can give the Crushers. These are so fun. These are like literally hilariously fun. These are amazingly fun to wear and to experience. And if you don't know about the Crusher ANCs, this right here is a bass lever, I guess. It's basically a bass lever. And when it's turned up all the way, there's haptic, I want to say there's like haptic rumble is what is in here. I'm not 100% what is exactly in here that makes it happen. But basically it simulates car audio is the best way that I can actually articulate how this sounds when it's on your head and you have that lever turned all the way up. It is like car audio for your head. It vibrates and shakes the entire headphones and your ears, and it is just, if you put on the right track, it's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. And for a lot of people, it's going to be really good. But if you are anyone that is wants any kind of like controlled amount of bass, it's probably going to be a problem for you. These are not for audiophiles. These were never made for audiophile people. This is just a very incredibly fun pair of Bluetooth wireless headphones. And that's how they should be marketed. They're so fun. I love wearing these things and just having a stinky fucking boomy bass EDM song just blaring and feeling my entire head shake. It's awesome. The other best thing about these, which I wish more companies would do, I'm looking at you, Sony, is this. Tactile fucking buttons. These are awesome. I would much rather have tactile buttons than to have to do this shit, fucking having to rub it. Tactile buttons might not seem like a lot, but if you know exactly what the button does and it's not vague, it's way better than fucking motion controls. This isn't a Wii here, people. They should have tactile buttons. Okay. So I mainly got over features, and the real negatives that I have for this, it's really just fit. So let's talk about sound and what I initially thought. So when I first got these things, I put them on, didn't do anything else, turned them on, put them on, turned it up, and listened to music. They did not sound too good to me. The bass was, as advertised, crazy, and it was too much. And basically what it was doing is it was completely drowning out everything. Couldn't hear vocals, you could hear treble, it was just, the bass was too much. The way that this is fixed is with the app. The Skullcandy app will pair these and the Indie ANC, which I have and I'm going to be doing a review for as well. And it has a thing where it basically takes you through a hearing test. And it does it for the left and it does it for the right ear. And it plays tones to see if you can hear them, and it adjusts to, your ears and what you can hear. Now, technically, this is just a masked EQ, but it does it for each separate ear, so that's a good plus. Once I did that, and once that happened, these things went from, wow, that's a lot of bass, to, wow, that's a lot of bass, but everything else is also coming through spectacularly. It's something that DankPods didn't really talk about in his review, and I don't know if he had the app where he was, but using the app with the custom, basically the hearing test or whatever they call it, makes these things way better. It also vastly improved the indies as well. Having the app, I think, is a must whenever you have these. If you're going to be using them wirelessly, having the app and having it tuned to your ears is a must, because you can have all the stinky rumbly bass that you want, as well as having clear mids and clear treble. Now, another aspect that was not talked about in DankPods' video is plugging these things in. So that was one thing that I wanted to make sure and do, and see how these sounded when you plug them in. If you plug them in, it doesn't use the power of the headphones, and this doesn't work unless you turn it on and also have it plugged in. When it's just plugged in and they are just a pair of headphones, these things sound amazing. They're incredibly punchy bass. The mids are also very clear and the treble's really good. When these are plugged in and you use them as regular headphones, these are awesome. That was also something that wasn't really talked about in other reviews. People don't really talk about plugging them in and using them as regular headphones. These things are actually awesome as regular headphones. So if this is like your only pair of headphones, feel free to plug them into your computer, because they sound fucking good. But yeah, so the main thing that we need to talk about here is, are these better than the XM3s, and should you pick these over the XM3s? And unfortunately, I want to say no, only in the aspect of that these are really fun, and they're really cool, and I love them. I absolutely love these things. But to me, they're not quite an everyday, every scenario use. These things would be awesome in the gym. These things would be awesome for just transit and stuff like that. But to wear every single day, if you needed to commute somewhere or something like that, I have to give it to the XM3s, only because the XM3s are lighter and they're more well balanced with their sound. These emphasize on bass, which is great, and listen, I'm a bass head, I love bass, but in the scenario, these are a little too heavy and the fit is a little weird. Now, again, this is for me. For me, the XM3s still stand above these things, but these are awesome. I would highly recommend, if you love bass and you just want to have a good fucking time, buy these. Get them. They're great. Are they $320 great is the actual question, because right now I think you can get the XM3s for $200, and I prefer the XM3s over these. But if you just love bass and you're willing to spend that much money, these are super fun. And then as far as like other feature sets go, The app doesn't really support these very much. The app supports the indies way more, but these do have noise canceling, and the noise canceling is fine. The XM3s have way better noise canceling than these, but these will get the job done. It's not terrible. It's good. Call quality is alright. It's basically standard for most of these kind of things. But yeah, overall, I would say if you just want some fun, this is what you want to get. If you want a workhorse that is just something you can use every single day, I would prefer the XM3s, but these are not a bad option either. These are incredibly fun. They're super lively. Once you get them tuned with your ears, they're awesome. There's nothing else to say than fun. This is car audio for your head.